Increasing your cash flow with a mindful cash management plan is the first tip to finding money to start an online biz. It's first for a reason, guys, because it's super important and something everybody should be doing. If you want to quickly see more bread in your bank account, you'll want to stick around. Okay guys, in this video we're going to be going over the 5 steps to quickly increase your cash flow with a mindful cash management plan. Now, if you remember from my first video, the mindful cash management plan was tip number 1 of the 5 tips on how to find money to start an online biz. Now, if you're new here, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and click that bell to get those future updates for the videos in this series. So go ahead, grab a notepad now, a pen, a highlighter, and the last 3 months of your bank statement, and let's get going. The mindful cash management plan is all about filling up that cash flow bucket. Now, what do I mean by cash flow? Well, let's go over it so that we're on the same page. Now, cash flow by definition is the money that is left over after you paying all your expenses. Now, that includes discretionary spending and infrequent expenses. It's really, really important that you understand this. And if you remember, one of the biggest changes you're going to have to make is what you know about money and the way you think about money. In order to do that, you have to be more aware of what your money is doing. Now, with a mindful cash management plan, you're going to track your money, where it comes from and where it goes. Now, for most people, where it comes from is pretty easy to track because most people have only one source of income, and that's their job. Now, if you have 2 or more sources of income, you're doing great. Get those bank statements ready because your first step in mindful cash management plan is to record your income. We're going to work backwards and reverse engineer your plan. We're going to use the past 3 months. Now, you can go back 6 or 12 months for a more accurate picture, but for now, a minimum of 3 months is necessary. Also, you can do this digitally on Excel, but I think going through this exercise with a pen and paper is all part of the fun. And yes, looking over your money needs to be fun. If you want this to really work, your mindset needs to shift. We've talked about this before. It needs to shift from worrying and lacking to fun and abundance. All right, so your first thing you need to do to get going is to highlight all of your sources of income right there on your statement. And once you have that highlighted, go ahead and transfer that income or those amounts into your notebook under the title Income and then total it up. So far so good, guys. Let's move on to step number 2 of our mindful cash management plan. If you haven't already guessed, the next step is to categorize all of your spending. On the next page of your book, go ahead and create categories like utilities. And this is going to include stuff like your hydro, your water, your heating and cooling, right? Automotive, that's going to include everything to do with your cars and trucks, so gas, repairs, and maintenance. Food and entertainment's another category, like going out for dinner, bars, movies, your coffee. Other categories could be rent, mortgage, personal care, groceries, bank fees, and keep making those lists till you fill everything up. Also, you're going to, anything you haven't categorized, put it under miscellaneous. Now, total that up, divide it by 3, and that will give you your average monthly spending. Now, you also want to do that for your income to give you your average monthly income. Now, I've also included a document below to help you get started with this. Okay, so now you have all your spending for at least 3 months in categories. Now, there's 3 steps left, but before we begin those steps, in just a moment, I want you to pause the video and write down in your book, on the left inside cover of your book, your why. Now, why are you doing this? And who are you doing this for? For me, my why is my wife and my daughter. And if I ever need to be reminded of why I make my sacrifices and why I get up early and why I work really hard, I remember that I'm doing it for them. And that gives me all the inspiration that I could ever need. So don't skip this step because you've got the most challenging part of the mindful cash management plan coming up. And you might need some inspiration and motivation. So go ahead, push pause, and quickly write down your why on the inside cover. All right, great job. Now into step number 3 of the mindful cash management plan. You're going to review your spending. For each expense category, you're going to ask yourself, what can I do differently to reduce my spending? Now, could I make coffee at home before work? Or could I choose like no-name brands? Could I have date night at home? Or could I stop eating out and going to the bars? Could I do the house maintenance myself? Or could I turn down the water heater and take shorter showers? maybe buy items in bulk. Look through all your categories, find the ways to reduce your spending. Now this is a tough step, guys, so press pause and go and do that right now. Awesome, you found ways to reduce your spending and give your cash flow a significant boost. I'm going to tell you, it's been our experience that most people can free up their cash flow to start their online biz by eliminating just two things. You know what? Eating out and going to bars. Now this takes some serious lifestyle changes, but it's deadly to your overall cash flow, and it's one that most people regret spending the most on when looking back on their life. So now, if you didn't really find any ways to reduce your spending, you're going to need to be more creative and start thinking more about your why as you go back over each category and make some cuts. You guys are really doing awesome. Here we go on to step number 4 with our mindful cash management plan. In this step, you're going to go through all your categories one more time. Now this time we're going to cut out all the discretionary spending. In other words, the things you could do without. Could you stop drinking or smoking? Remember your why, guys. Now, cut out your car washes, the gym membership you don't use, or Netflix, Amazon, and other subscription services. One thing we've done recently is just cut out cable TV. Now, your goal here is to cut out these discretionary spending until you control your money. It's not forever, but you've got to buckle down and really hone in on those expenses and gain control of your spending until you've increased your cash flow. Number 5, guys, the last step in our plan is to finally get paid what you're worth. For this step, you're going to scour the internet for jobs in your field and apply for every job that pays more than what you're earning right now. Use recruiting websites like Glassdoor, Indeed, and ZipRecruiter and search your city or town for the best paying jobs for what you already do. And send out your resume and finally get paid what you're worth. All right, guys, that wraps up the 5 steps on the mindful cash management plan to help you quickly increase your cash flow so you can start your online business. Let's put everything we just went over into action immediately. In next week's video, I'm going to show you how to plug the holes in your cash flow bucket, so stay tuned for that. Now, make sure you subscribe and click the bell below so you're the first to receive those videos. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.